Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom has already spiraled out of control with the insane things that people are building and the insane tech that people are discovering. If you go to sleep, you're going to miss something crazy because it's going to go top of Reddit and then get replaced by something else. If you get lost in gameplay, you're going to miss out on some new tech. It is insane. It's also been pretty crazy to keep up with everything for making videos, but that is why we're going to catch up on what people have been up to. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like, share with your friends, comment your thoughts down below. Let's see what happens when when over 10 million people get a hold of such sandbox mechanics in an open world game. Oh, we got a mech now. Not even mech now. We've gone from mech to fighter jet. They made the design, and it chews through battery. This dude's going after one of the dragons. Unfortunately, it's not attacking the dragons. The homing construct's not doing their job there. Probably for the best, because you would just get obliterated. But yeah, if you run into something else in the sky, it is going to get laser beamed down. So yeah, who thought dogfighting was going to be possible in Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom? And then you can just do, like, air raids on enemies? Pretty crazy. And then to get extra fancy, this dude built a mech out of the same components. Bet you didn't think about that for your builds, where you can actually have a transformer in the game as well. Soul Banana Zero doing some absolutely insane stuff. Little dubious, though. Questionable on how he got the game early to then get so far ahead and start making all this stuff. But the rest of the player base is going to catch up and it's going to get insane. This one, yeah, we got like laser fighting. We got a turret. It is crazy. What else are people making? A more simple design, but we have the Master Cycle 2.0. So yeah, if you're missing the Master Cycle, you can build one yourself. Making like vehicles and bikes has gotten kind of interesting. I did a video. Also, let's scroll this down a bit. They did a longer form video. I did a video about like some of the best vehicle designs, and it just kind of seems like if you try to make something traditional, it's not going to work out. The best thing is actually 2 fans and a controller, and then you just kind of angle it and zoom around on it. The next one I have queued up is the tall one-wheel build. Now, a lot of people are saying that the Yiga motorcycles are better. I just didn't expect like the NPC one to be better, so I didn't even try it. And this one looks really cool, and the guy made it extra cool by just like zooming into a base and then using it as a combat kind of thing. So you can jump off, get the airtime, snipe out everything in a camp, and then that's going to be like the extra utility you can get from it. Maybe worth putting that in my best vehicle build, because I didn't think people were going to be like, oh, the Yiga one's just so much better, and how much utility you can actually get with it being taller. But also now it makes it in the video. So again, there's too much stuff being discovered too quickly to keep up with content. It's nuts. Now, not everything has to be just like the craziest, over-the-top, outrageous build. This dude made a paddle boat, and to me, it's as impressive. Well, not as impressive, but it's darn near as impressive as everything else we've seen, because bet you didn't think you could make a paddle boat design that actually worked. That's just more creativity, more engineering to discover in this game. Could you build a flying machine, a speedboat, or some kind of hovercraft to do the same thing? Yeah, but this dude made a paddle boat, because that's also possible, and I respect it. And then we'll go transition back into an absolutely outrageous build. Helicopter with bombs. Now, this guy hasn't gotten the construct heads just yet, so this actually gets better. Like, we're seeing, like, alright, blowing up the base, and then aiming it, kind of getting a little tricky, shooting the bombs over the enemies. But I mean, like, yeah, with the construct heads, this would work. We can see it's very expensive and uses a large Zonai charge to function. That is like 10 fans, but just making a helicopter and then just zooming around on it, that's wacky. And then it also just blows everything up, which is really cool. Here we have a multi-stage rocket design. That's also pretty crazy. So hitting the stakes, getting some rocket launches, and then like doing I'm not really sure how it works. I guess like you have the contraptions kind of like nested inside of each other, so they're not directly connected. And then you can just have it to where like you hit them and then it's like rocket, 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 everything falls out. You hit the last rocket, you get that extra little zoom zoop on it, and then you can hover, or like not hover, glider out. And not a lot of energy. I guess if you have the schematic and some components, doesn't cost a lot of zonite, and you get a lot of height in a short amount of time. He also has a rocket on his shield, so that's what I mean. Like, you can also rocket shield for even more power if you need it. Yeah, like, all the tech coming together for Tears of the Kingdom, and it's pretty crazy. If we're speaking about just, like, crazy hover death machines, this guy just decided to put cannons and lasers on a wheel underneath his flying machine. He's hovering up, and then he's just raining bombs down on everything below him. I did a mob farming guide, and I didn't think to just kind of make, like, a battle airship thing. But this seems to actually do pretty well. If I'm using the zonite, I might have to work on my own design that kind of suits my needs. Because, like, what if you do this, and then you make it to farm zonite in the underground, and then you just move from, like, camp to camp? And then you just get tons of zonite, and it's funding it, and you're also having fun the entire time on mob farming. But that design, pretty good. Also, these kinds of things get bonus points for me when they just look nice, and for some reason, the balloon on like just some kind of airship looks really cool. So yep, that's what I would call a successful design. We got another one, so let's keep the trend going. This one, taking the hover cart and then just kind of making it more expensive, a bit more like fancy, and then adding turrets to it, and I guess you can. So yeah, just the way that you angle fans, and you can use it to move around, and then you use the construct head so you can target for the bombs. Do you need anything else? Like maybe some kind of platform with lasers on it, but with the targeted bombs, and if you're like flying above everything so you're safe, that also seems to be pretty effective. We use a lot of energy, but once again, like if you make it to where you can clear out anything with one large zonite charge, and you're doing it on the ground, you mine the rocks and you get 3 large zonite back, that's worth. So this, also a pretty fancy design. I can also just see that, okay, you blow up the camp, you mine it, you jump back into this, and then you zoom on over to the next camp or explore the underground some more. And then, I have no idea what this dude made. It's just an outrageous Beyblade that runs around, shoots lasers everywhere. And he knocks down that Horriblin, but we can see all the other ones. They have gotten jumped down. They're getting lit on fire. They're getting lasered in the butt. No one's having a good time down there. Now, it is dangerous for Link, so you gotta kind of hide. He's going through a lot of his battery charges, but he's getting it. And that's how you do the Death Beyblade, it seems. I tried to make one where it's just like, yo, what if I just use momentum and, like, swing rocks into things for big damage? And then, like, I tried to use fire, and that was also kind of weird. But depending on where you are, like, if you're in a cave where you're not going to light terrain on fire, and then you just, like, put lasers and zappers and electricity and fire and everything on it, and you keep the bombs away. Yeah, that seems to work. We can see a couple of issues, though. Eventually, it does tear itself apart, and that's why I'm not a huge fan of the Beyblade design. But, yeah, if it works, it works. We have another flying death machine, this time utilizing the lasers. The beams are kind of interesting because in my, like, testing with it making a mob farming contraption, you know, 6 beams just kind of melts everything. This has, like, a lot of complicated fans and stuff for maneuverability, but just kind of going through and zapping whatever, and then you can just kind of fly around and make it work. So some combination, you know, of all the airships we've seen, some combination of fans, platforms, lasers, and bombs is going to be the solution, and we are not far until people perfect it. And then speaking of, like, going to sleep or getting lost in gameplay, missing some tech or something, like, here's the new tech. Here's what everyone's doing and talking about, that you go into a tower, you start gliding, and then you do, like, a perfect drop on the glider, and then you can just glide on the glider, refresh your stamina, get extra distance, start gliding again, and then, like, that is easy mobility inside of the games. The title of the post is finally learned this cool trick, so there is some technique to it, there is some learning it. But once again, like, if you're off Reddit for a couple of days, or if you sleep in or something, this is going to get bumped off and then you miss it. But that's why we have the compilation videos, to dig up the crazy things that people are up to, add it to the kit, and then go, dang, I wish I was doing this days earlier before any of that happened. Really, the biggest thing is the segue. Like, dang, 2 fans and a control stick? Really? And I could have just made it through, like, the entire map super fast? Slap on a bright bulb, and then, like, you also get to explore the depths super easily? Yeah, that's this game. This game is millions of people coming together, doing their own thing, and then just like super crazy efficient stuff floating to the top, and then you find out about it days later. Stone Talus Tech, 100th reason why Ascend is the best ability. So there's all kind of things where like people are cheesing with recall, they're fighting enemies with recall. We also just have straight up Ascend, and you can do it into a Talus. So that's a combat skill to learn. Yeah, like I said, people were kind of busy with, oh, but you can shoot the rock back with recall. Or if you get the stagger and you time it right. And again, I think this is like some combat training that if you try this and you don't exactly know what you're doing, you're going to think it's bad. Because I did for a while. I was like, people are saying just ascend through the Talus. And, you know, sometimes you don't find the angle. Sometimes it's tricky. But you just need to do that. You need to wait until it goes down. You get into that spot and then it's free. So practice makes perfect. It can also be intimidating because if you screw up against the Talus, you just get one shot or you take like an insane amount of damage. So you don't want to get like stomped on and crushed. But again, like if you know exactly what the animations are going to do, you just refine it, you perfect it, and then quick kills. Now, I made a Talus farming guide and I was able to like one shot or easily fight all of the Talus without these shenanigans, but something to add into your kit. Like if you see the opportunity to ascend up through the Talus because it's free, then that's better than like having to bomb it or wait for a stagger or do some kind of other setup. But yeah, there's like a lot of different ways of fighting a Talus, and if you just kind of like have a combat multi-tool for beating anything, it works out pretty well. Ascend and Recall, frequently slept on for combat utility. This is a post, what happens when you trap an NPC. So this guy like builds some kind of box contraption and is like really trying to get under the NPC, really trying to scoop him up. You know, if you can just get under there and like use force and momentum to get him, then some pretty wacky stuff happens. So he's got the NPC and the game really does not like that. This is one of those things, just kind of learning about how the game physics work with recall or ultra hand or something. Kind of like when I saw the dude recall the stick and boulders and then like dab on the Hinox, you know, that viral clip. This is kind of the same idea to where like you can just mess around with the game and get surprising results from it. I did not expect that if you just put 2 rocks in a stick and spin it around and recall it into a Hinox, you can do crazy amounts of damage. This is something you can do, but as you can see, the game doesn't want you doing it. More mechs, more robots, crazier designs. I like that though. I like using the stabilizer as the actual face of the mech, and then you kind of pilot it from behind safely, so that works out pretty well. And the cool thing is, it does walk, because when there aren't any enemies around, that's how the construct heads move. So now it's just got like arms and cannons and lasers and rockets and all kinds of fun stuff. When it locks onto an enemy, kind of gets jank, but overall, like, that's the cleanest mech design we've seen. And then the game doesn't only have to be about making the craziest contraptions or builds. Found the best weapon and shield fuses in the game. Guess what? You could take the Hudson sign and fuse it to shields and weaponry. That's pretty awesome and hilarious. Then we're going to wrap up with some more simpler ideas, but you can make a catapult because the stabilizer will stabilize. So you put some planks together and some platforms, and then boom, instant height for free. Okay, it costs like a little bit to build, but like that's kind of a cool trick to get some height in the game. Now, once again, air balloons and the hover cart are just better, but this is just the beginning. Just wait. And then prototyping. So this guy tried to make a walking robot. Once again, the engineering degree is coming into play, like using the wheels to generate like some kind of walking forward momentum instead of just kind of having the other things do it where it's like, oh, a fan and a stabilizer just kind of making something zoom around. No, what if you actually make it walk? This guy doing it. So once again, millions of people getting further into the game, making crazy discoveries, trying to just like use engineering and physics and all the components in the game, and it's coming together in some pretty crazy ways, and it's only going to get crazier. So I hope you guys enjoy the video. Hope you have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.